Hi guys, welcome to ICDT's interview series. We are here today with singer-songwriter Eric Michael Krop. Thank you so much for being here. I'm Jerusha.
I'm Shayna.
And I'm Eric Michael Krop.
Yes, go ahead and tell everyone a little bit about who you are and what you do.
All right, so my name is Eric. I live in Los Angeles. I lived in New York City for 9 years. I did Godspell on Broadway, and I used to do a lot more theater. Now I'm kind of more focused on the singer-songwriter music stuff in my house. And I do session work in Los Angeles, and I'm in a whole bunch of different bands. And I mean, not at the moment, but yeah, and I've been in LA for about 4 years now.
Awesome. Very cool. So let's go back in your life. Tell us about how you first discovered performing, singing. Was it musical theater first? What got you into this?
So I'm from San Jose, California, Bay Area kid, and I moved around a lot as a kid, but my grandparents always lived in the same place, so I spent a lot of time with my grandparents. And my grandma was like one of the head altos in the church choir, and she would bring me and I would sing in church choir with her, and she would make me sing at home in front of a microphone and record it on cassette tape. And that's how it started. And I sang at my own baptism. I wanted to sing a solo. And then through school and through community theater, I started doing musical theater in high school. It wasn't until high school, really. Wow. And then, yeah, that was my start. I think I was 17, and my first show was The Who's Tommy. And I played Captain Walker, who's the dad.
Oh, wow. Yes.
Super,
that's awesome.
Super random.
Yeah, so and that is a little bit on the later side, right? To really
sure.
discover musical theater. And then you ended up going to AMDA in New York.
I did. I went to, I worked for a year in between high school and college, and did community theater in San Jose. But when I got into AMDA, I could have gone to the LA campus or the New York campus, and I was like, get me away from here. Yeah. Let's go to New York. Let's go be where the theater scene is. I just wanted to sing. I wanted to be on stage. Getting the training in New York was like the quickest, fastest way to get to that point.
Yes. And tell us a little bit about your experience at AMDA. What little tidbits of knowledge did you get really from your experience there?
So AMDA was incredible for me. I wasn't very good at school in general. I got bored really easily in high school and middle school. I went to 10 schools growing up because we moved a lot. And when I got to AMDA, it was a huge shift for me because I knew that it was my money. I was spending my money on it. I didn't want to let down my family. I didn't want to let down myself. I didn't party. I didn't do anything but go to my classes, rehearse, and watch Friends in my dorm room. Yeah. And any school experience, literally, you get out of it what you put into it, and that means focus and your true attention, and you have to really know that you want to do it. You may not figure out that you learned a whole bunch until like 10 years later, but you can get a lot of skills, and yeah, I was dancing like 5 dance classes a week. I don't dance anymore, but but it was an amazing experience, and I kind of wish I would have done the full 4 years. I only did the 2-year program.
Mm-hmm.
And Tracy was telling us that it's incredibly competitive, and that they even said in the beginning, take a look at everybody here in the room because not everybody's going to continue to be here for the next 2 years. What was that like?
Yeah. Oh my God. Our group is pretty solid. I know that after the fact, like a few people I kind of saw like weren't loving it. Mm-hmm. And a lot of kids, jump into a school because they're like, well, I have to go to college right away. And the thing about AMDA, though, and Tracy and I went at different times, and a lot had changed in between then, is that AMDA's very focused. Like there's no general, when I went, there wasn't general education. It was just performance. So theater is your whole life. And my group kind of skewed a little bit older. And I think that people were a little more serious about it, whether they're working in the industry or not. Like we didn't have a lot of people drop out in my group specifically. And I also went through the summer. I didn't take any breaks. So I stayed all the way through because I was just like, let's get her done. Yeah, but that's it.
Yeah. It sounds like you developed a really great work ethic over those years.
Yeah, absolutely. I will say that I am probably one of like 4 out of the whole group of people that were at AMDA when I was there that are consistently doing something in the vein of what we were trained to do. Mm-hmm. I know a lot of people have gone on to other things, which is totally amazing. You should, like, we shouldn't force ourselves into boxes to like, if it's not working out, like, because the training lends itself to everything. Like I teach at a college. I mean, not right now. I teach at a college, but because of my AMDA experience, I didn't even know that would have informed how I teach now.
Right. Know? Yeah. We talk about that all the time, how this is, it's great training for life, no matter what you end up doing.
Abso-freaking-lutely.
Yeah. So cool. So tell us a little bit about your transition from being a student into the professional world. How was that? Was there a big adjustment? Did you jump right in?
I did. I actually left AMDA a little early. I left at the last semester in your fourth semester, which is in your end of your second year. You have 5 weeks of acting showcase, 5 weeks of musical theater showcase, and 5 weeks of agent classes. So right before I did my acting showcase, I had to have my tonsils out. Really great timing. Like it was very bad. Like I was very, very ill. And I took the first 5 weeks, I got my tonsils out, went into my acting showcase, and then I booked a cruise ship. So I was like, okay, well, I got the majority of the education. I think it's time to start thinking about how I'm going to pay for this. So I wanted to get the gig. And I was up for the original Rock of Ages production. I was like nailing all these callbacks. I'm like, okay, I think I'm ready. Like, let's just do it. And I took the cruise job and I left. I only did my acting showcase. And I did 2 years of cruise ship contracts with 6 months off in between, which was a crazy transition. It almost acted as like the other 2 years of college because I was learning on the job. It maybe wasn't like a theater job, but I was learning how to live and work with a whole bunch of different people from all over the world. And I was like the head of the vocals. Like I was in charge of making sure everyone's vocals were like on par and had to report back. And I had like all this crazy responsibility. Not the best experience, cruise ships. Not for me. That's imagine being quarantined, but like in the middle of the ocean.
Right.
With a lot more rules.
Yes.
And no internet.
Wow. Yeah. See, then I'm out.
No, I'm out. So yeah, I left cruise ships. I came back to New York. Actually got fired, which is a whole other story.
Okay. We'll skip that.
It was the best thing that ever happened. And because I got fired for this cruise ship, I was able to like backup sing for one of my friends in New York, which led to me getting a manager, which led to me getting the audition for Hair in Montana, which got me my equity card. And then it all spiraled.
Right. And so did Godspell come soon after that? Was that your big first Broadway?
It was my first, only, and never say never, but probably my last. Godspell was awesome. I booked that in, I want to say 2000, 11. So I booked here in 2010. And then a year after, I got Godspell, which is kind of crazy. This theater company, they'll give people their equity card, and then like a year later, they all get a Broadway show somehow.
Wow.
There's like 6 of us that has happened to.
Wow.
It's really awesome. But yeah, I booked Godspell the same summer. I booked Godspell. I booked The Voice season 2, and I got through producer rounds at American Idol. And I was like, what is happening? But I couldn't do The Voice because it was second day of rehearsals for Godspell. They called me.
Oh, wow. Okay.
I was like, I'm going to keep the 401k and the health insurance.
Yes.
Yeah. So I actually saw that production of Godspell.
Oh, hey.
Circle in the Square. Yeah. It was awesome. I'm sure I saw you. I just didn't know you yet.
I was the offstage swing, so principal understudy.
Okay.
So I covered all the guys, and I was on multiple times a week.
Wow. How was that? So how many tracks did you have then as a swing? I'm always
mainly 3, but I had to know all 5.
Okay.
Can you explain what that is to some of our kids who might not know what it is to have different tracks as a swing?
Mm-hmm. Yep. So this was a principal understudy, which is a different contract than say an ensemble swing. Mm-hmm. An ensemble swing has to know, it's a different kind of contract, and they have to know a whole bunch of different like ensemble parts. Say 5, you get paid for each one that you have to know. So I don't know too much about that, so I won't go to that one. But the principal understudy one, I had to sit and watch the show, learn all their songs, all their movements, and just plug myself in to their part and just always be ready. I went on mid-show twice. Wow. And with a cast of 12, it's a little noticeable. Yeah. Especially when I'm going on for like Telly Leung in the middle of the show, like, oh, where'd Telly go?
So what happened at those moments? Did they have a physical injury or?
Usually they were just very sick and trying to get through the show, and then they just like can't do it because they don't want to not go on. Mm-hmm. You know, you want to do your part. You want to entertain. You have this need to entertain, and sometimes you push a little too hard, and then you go, and you're like, oh, just kidding. I gotta go.
Totally.
Yeah, you're in.
Wow. That must have been a crazy experience. Yeah. Being able to jump in at any moment.
It was fun. I think for me, part of the reason I was a little disenchanted with that experience was I didn't get into this to not be on stage. And I get like, yes, it's a great paycheck and it's, you know, you're in a Broadway show technically, but you're not performing. Like I wasn't performing, and I don't do this for the money. Like I don't perform for the money. I perform because I love and need and want to perform. Mm-hmm. And I decided after Godspell that there were people who wanted to be backstage understudying more than I did. And if that was going to be like a trajectory of where my career was, and somebody wanted those parts more than me, it wasn't fair for me to be going in and trying to take those parts from people.
Wow. Yeah. That's really huge. But it makes sense because you're aligning with what is real for you and what you envision as your track in your life. And if you feel like you're on the wrong track, then maybe you're taking up space for someone whose track that is.
Exactly. And that's not fair.
For either of you.
Yeah. There's already enough that's not fair in the world. So why add to it?
Yeah.
Right. Exactly. Wow.
Yeah. So what came next? Is that what eventually brought you out to LA, or how did you get from New York to LA?
So I had been doing, after I did hair in Montana, I just kept going back after Godspell, doing their summer programs, teaching there, doing their Christmas concert they do every year. And I was when you're in New York City and you're not doing what you love and you have 4 survival jobs, that city can and will crush you. It'll move on without you. So I knew I needed to leave. I just didn't know when or how. And then at the end of this Christmas concert in Montana, the owner of the theater company said, well, if you want to like get out of town, we have the lake house here that's empty. So, and I was going to be there in the summer, and I was like, oh, I'll just go 4 months early to Montana. And I lived in Montana, and I was going to go to LA at the end of that summer contract, ended up staying another year.
Wow.
So I moved to Montana for a little bit, and just like, I sang jazz and drank a lot of beer, and which I was definitely of age. 29, I was 29. And just wanted to love art in a different way.
Yeah.
And figure out what I wanted to do specifically. And I started writing more and just connecting with people around me. And it wasn't just about me. I must get this audition. I must crush competition. I didn't want this to be competitive, because it's really not up to me where I go in life. I can't crush anybody or put anybody down and trample over people to get where I want to go. Especially with art, because it's so subjective. Like, somebody could love your voice, somebody could hate your voice. You just don't know.
Right.
So I went to Montana to figure that out, and then I met my husband online. And I was already going to be moving to LA, but he was definitely a nice anchor to have here.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
Okay.
So have you been doing theater since then, or did you kind of leave the theater world in New York and then moved on to more singer-songwriter, that world, as you moved on from New York?
So the last theater production I did was probably summer rep in Montana. And what shows did we do? Oh my God, it was like 4 years ago now. The last show I did was 4 years ago. And we did, I want to say, not Guys and Dolls, Big River, Who's Tommy? I got to play Tommy this time. Appropriate.
Wow.
But yeah, I really don't do productions of theater anymore unless it's with this company that I worked for, because I just love them so much, and they like to take stuff and kind of tear it apart and rebuild it and make it something new. But yeah, I've been writing songs since I was 11. I just didn't know that I don't know if I believed in myself enough to make it a reality. And it took, honestly, like getting married and moving to LA and just going for it to materialize. And within less than a year of being in LA, I was at a recording session at my favorite record producer's, like huge pop producer's house, singing like backup on a track for a movie. And I was like, how did this, like, literally showed him a playlist of my favorite songs that he's produced. And I was like, oh, this is what I'm supposed to be doing. And the path is weird and windy, and there's no specific way you get there. You just have to kind of be good to yourself and allow it to happen.
Yeah, kind of like surrender to, and like trusting that if you keep showing up and putting in the work and putting out what you love, that you're going to be moved in your direction, and that it might look totally different than what you thought the goal was.
Yes. And a lot of it, I think, is believing in yourself. That is the hugest thing. Like, there's so much self-doubt being an artist. I think being a person, a human, it's part of being a human. But when your whole well-being and paychecks are contingent on, do people think I'm good enough at this? Like, the thing that is vulnerable, like my voice, like the thing I can't really explain, and it's inside of me, and is it good enough? And I was like, oh yeah, it is good. It's good enough for me, and I want to keep getting better at it. I never want to stop getting better. And just reminding yourself always, what can I do to make myself better at what I do for me? And eventually people will start seeing it.
Right.
Right.
But it's like radical self-acceptance, you know, of like, yeah, you want to continue to grow and challenge yourself and always be improving. But right now, as I am at this moment, I'm great. And people are going to see it if they want to see it. And some people aren't going to see it. And that's all cool.
Yeah, it's not for them.
Right. And then those aren't my people.
Yeah, it's not a big deal.
Yeah. Yeah. That's huge. Do you feel like you always had that in you, even as like in high school? Did you have that a part of who you were?
Yeah, I mean, I've always been super stubborn. I didn't go to class a lot in high school when I said I was bad at school, but I wasn't like being a bad kid. I literally I would stay home and I had some music production programs and I would just make songs all day long. And I didn't know that I could do that for a living.
Right.
You know, we didn't have YouTube. We didn't have this connection that we have now. Mm-hmm. And I feel like there's so many more opportunities for kids growing up right now. And it's incredible, the gifts that they've been given and the access to information, if they can block out the noise, you know.
Right.
A lot of noise, but a lot of amazing opportunities out there.
Mm-hmm.
Exactly.
Right. And it doesn't have to look just one way. There's so many different directions we can all go.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So I'd like to know what kind of a vocal regimen you have for yourself, other than the moving in yourself and holding on to that, but literally what kind of work do you do to keep yourself?
Well, sleep is the most important thing. So I teach voice at a college. I actually have a voice lesson I'm teaching after this. They're wrapping up this semester and like a month early, and we're doing as much as we can online. But for me, the most important things are sleep, eating right, staying hydrated, and not being crazy. Like, I'm going to drink gallons of water a day. You don't need to do that. The water doesn't even go past your cords. 2 different pipes. I mean, I just warmed up in the shower. I always vocalize just a little bit, and stretch my body. You can't have a warmed up voice. Your cords are always ready to go. It's your body that needs to be, with it. But I got like some scales, and I always check with my breath and make sure that I'm like, nice, and my diaphragm is releasing. And especially with all the stress right now and anxiety, you're like, is my diaphragm going down at all? Sometimes it feels like it's up here.
Yes.
Right. Yeah. 100%. And then do you have a voice teacher? Do you take from anyone? Is there someone?
I don't right now. I do like talk with friends about vocal technique stuff, and I've taken a lesson here and there over the past couple of years, but right now I think that I'm learning the most from teaching other people.
Right.
You're reminding yourself stuff. Everyone's voice is so different. Everyone learns so differently. And not one technique can kind of blanket work for everybody. So I've just gained so much knowledge over the past 3 years teaching at this college of all the different ways you can find what works for you personally.
What are you working on now creatively?
So I work on a website called soundbetter.com, and it's where music producers, songwriters, lyricists can hire other people. Like musicians can hire each other for projects. So I'm currently working on 4 different recording projects. I'm working on my own songs. I've been sending them out to musicians I know in LA, and they've been sending me the wave files. So also, I can't talk too much about this, but the day they said we're locking everything down, I was in my dressing room for a show that I cannot talk about that was going to be on a TV network. And yeah. And they said it's on hold. So after all of this, after this lockdown is, that will be happening.
Okay, that's
And
exciting.
I'm taking this time to hone in on my producing skills, my songwriting skills, and actually have like a full thing ready to go, like an album,
Mhm.
some singles,
Mhm.
get some new photos taken. But yeah, there's always something to do musically. I've
Yeah.
been practicing piano. I'm terrible at it.
Me too.
I
So,
can kind of accompany myself
Right.
very basically.
a
That's
lot of what I'm hearing, which is so awesome and such a good thing for all of our students to hear, is you obviously self-advocate. Like, you are your own boss, your own employee. You determine how much you accomplish during the day. You set projects that you go off and you create and you work on.
Mhm.
Nobody's like giving you to-dos. Nobody's giving you tasks, and also nothing will happen if you don't do it.
Exactly. Um, Goals are so, so, so important. And accountability is very important. So making promises to other people and showing up and completing those things that you promised that you would do is probably the best thing you could do for completing something. Um, I like to, I mean, nobody's perfect, and sometimes, things slip and it takes a little more time than you think, or other things, come in, but at the end of the day, I always want to be known for showing up, being on time, and being nice and easy to work with.
Mhm. That goes
That's huge.
It's really not that hard.
such a long way. Yep.
Yeah,
Being
it's
on
not.
time is so the number one for me. Like, I am always early to gigs. I come as prepared as possible. I know my stuff. And I perform, I'm in 4 different wedding bands. So I need to know stuff like their first dance. And can you imagine showing up and not knowing the first dance song?
Right,
Right.
I wouldn't get hired again.
right.
I wouldn't. Um, but yeah, it is so important to set goals, and it's actually a skill that is hard to learn and keep up. It is.
Yeah,
Once you figure it out, your world changes.
right. I have another weird question, which is about working with others. So if you're showing up and you're accountable and you're working hard, um, I guess it's kind of a two-part. It's like, how are you interacting with others and also taking feedback and not giving feedback and creating like a safe place? Do you know what, I don't know if I'm being clear.
Um, like if somebody's not really showing up.
A big thing that we talk with our kids about is being kind to each other, you
Mm-hmm.
know, and not giving negative or really any feedback to anybody other than like if the director is giving you feedback, how do you take that in a positive way?
Right.
And how do you respect someone as their own performer and not kind of impose yourself and your opinions on their
Oh,
performance?
that is so important. It's like the rule of not giving other actors notes.
Mhm.
No, 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 no. There are rules for a reason. Um, then there's like too many cooks in the kitchen. If you're giving notes to your friends, or if you have an opinion on something, keep it to yourself. It's not your gig. Worry about your gig. Worry about your performance, and take your notes from your director. It's not personal. Do your best to fix what you can, and come at it with a little bit of grace and understanding, and yeah, I think it's hard for kids too, because we're all very emotional, and when we're teenagers we're even more emotional, and it's hard to not take stuff personally, but these people, us adults, have a million things going on, and at the end of the day, I hope what our directors and our teachers, we just want you to learn, and we want you to be better, and we hope you want to be better as well. But yeah, giving other kids notes, not great. Mind your own business.
100%.
Yeah.
100%. Yeah.
So this might be kind of in the same vein of what we've been talking about, but we've been asking everyone if you could talk to your 12-year-old self or 14-year-old self, or whichever year you want to choose when you felt the most like, what is life? What would you tell yourself knowing what you know now?
I would tell him to get to a dance class.
Okay.
Which I went to one, but I got too scared. Don't care what people think about you. Mm-hmm. Put down the Ben and Jerry's. I would make cookie dough and just eat it.
Yeah. We had many cookie dough nights.
Yeah, we did the same.
I mean,
and you'll do.
2 nights ago.
Yeah.
Everything in moderation. No, I would say you're going to be just fine. You know exactly where you're going. Keep trusting that gut instinct that you know you already have. Yeah.
Awesome. Very cool. Well, thank you so much. Thank you so much for your time. Thanks for sharing all of your awesome knowledge and stories. And take care.
Oh yeah,
it's great time.
Did you want a little ditty?
Yes, I did. I do. Yes, please.
All right. I tried to sing this last night on my Facebook Live, and our internet crapped out. So it's a karaoke track, but it's a little Ray Charles, Georgia on my mind.
Awesome.
Love it.
Oh, just gotta turn the speaker back on. So fun. Technology. So I bet these kids are like, we know exactly what we're doing.
I know. We'll run the rehearsal.
Yeah.
How's that sound?
Good.
Awesome. Georgia, Georgia, the whole day through, just an old sweet song keeps Georgia on my mind. I said, Georgia, my sweet, sweet Georgia, the song of you comes as sweet and clear as moonlight through the pine. Other arms reach out to me. Other eyes smile tenderly. Still in peaceful dreams I see the road leads back to you. Oh, Georgia, Georgia, no peace I find, just an old sweet song keeps Georgia on my mind. Other arms reach out to me. Other eyes smile tenderly. Still in peaceful dreams I see the road leads back to you. Oh, Georgia, my sweet, sweet Georgia, no peace I find, just an old sweet song keeps Georgia on my mind. keeps Georgia on my mind.
Oh,
Yes.
oh,
So good. Thank you. I got emotional.
Thanks, guys.
seriously.
Thank you so much for sharing that with us. It's so personal and so like healing at this time, really. So thank you.
It's so true. It's so true. It shows there's so much beauty and there's so much that I'm going to continue, but that we're all able to create, even now and like miles and miles away. And I know so many people are going to be so touched by that. That was
great. Now we're all crying. Thank you. No, thank you. That just shows how important art is, especially at a time like this when we're also, everything's so up in the air.
Yeah.
Brings you back. So
it does.
Awesome.
You're amazing. You're amazing.
Thank you, guys. You were amazing as well. Thank you for what you're doing.
Totally our pleasure. This has been really incredible. I can, see why Tracy is so crazy about you. And we're so thankful and so lucky to have had this time. So thank you.
Yes. Thank you so very much.